Please join me welcoming Manuela Gatto.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And it's always a pleasure to be in Tbilisi. I've been here many times. We have a wonderful project with CityZen, and we are always very excited to be here. And today I wanted to show you a little bit how we work. First of all, a very quick introduction of who we are. We've been around for 46 years now, founded by Dame Zaha Hadid. At the end of the 70s, we are about 500, 450 people. We design pretty much everything from furniture, product design, all the way up to airports. So for instance, large infrastructures. For instance, this one is Dashin Airport, which we opened in 2019 in Beijing. Master plans as well, and I will show some tools we use primarily and also for master planning. Transport infrastructure, bridges. Sometimes we're more known for cultural projects, but of course we do a lot of different typologies, pretty much everything I would imagine. Sports, cultural projects, civic buildings, education, residential hospitality, office and mixed use, retail, and these are some of the projects in the Caucasus we're doing. Of course, CityZen Tower, which we are doing here in Tbilisi with CityZen, but a few other projects in, for instance, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. We like to say we are founded in R&D. We always wanted, it was our mission from the beginning to be, in a way, ahead of the curve in terms of technology. We always, both Zaha, Patrick, and all of us, believe that R&D and research and development should be at the core of our practice for various reasons that I'm going to show, and that allows us to come to a level of accuracy in designing, building and delivering them, building that very often means that we can't even, not even our staff knows which one is a render, which is not. For instance, one of these slides shows the final product, the other one shows the early kind of schematic design level of the same project, and they are absolutely identical. Our core teams in terms of R&D are computational and design. We have a sustainability, in-house sustainability team, analytics and insights, and game and tech, which is something, and metaverse, which is a growing department of ours, VR, and robotics and design for manufacturing and assembly. And all of them are powered by AI, of course, but not only. We use AI very kind of liberally across all departments, and all design groups to a degree use AI, and even accounting, human resources, we use AI tools everywhere for data analytics, for instance. It's a very kind of a little bit, so there are core research centers, but a lot of the use is a little bit self-organized and driven by personal interest of our architects. We have AI interest groups, and these people in that group are our staff on all levels pretty much, and they would exchange ideas and bring their ideas back to the design teams. These are various levels of AI that we're using. Imagining AI, which is the most kind of like common, which is the one I would like to focus on today, and it's our first experience in AI a few years ago. Formative, evaluative, automating, and then finally semantics. And imagining AI, as we all know, is mostly textual to visual input, and the output is images, videos, and anything that helps us foster our creativity, really. So this is, you probably will see these things many times today. 2023 is when AI went viral, primarily in production of images, and you might remember in April 2023, there was the electrician. This picture in the middle was selected as for the Sony Photography Award, and right after the author came clear and said it was an AI image, and that triggered the conversation whether a picture or an element or any kind of creative element made with using AI, does it have the same value or the same relevance as something which is made in a more traditional, produced in a more traditional way. 1 year before, we were already collaborating with DALI, and we had pretty much uploaded. I had a collaboration with DALI and alongside Refik Anadol. We had uploaded pretty much all our image library to DALI, and we basically trained that model to our images and started producing, testing hallucinations really, because of course these are not even, let's say, not even close to being actual buildings. And we did a exhibition with Refik Anadol called Architecting the Metaverse. And this is a production of hallucinations in real time based on our catalog of images. At that point, 2022, we had started producing, our architects in general they were producing text-to-image AI visuals, and these visuals were mostly used for, let's say, form finding, inspirations, and they were manually then reproduced in 3D models that were architecturally relevant. And we've, for years and years, our company, all of us, we were, always striving to try to find inspirations pretty much everywhere. I think as any architect do, a lot of it was like going through Pinterest, looking at images, just constantly trying to foster one's imagination and trying to find different ways to design, but different ways, obviously not copying, but just triggering ideas. And AI at that point became our kind of treasure in that sense, because it became what we call Pinterest on steroids. So we were using DALI and Midjourney for quick images production that then would, we could basically produce endless images in just a few hours that then we could reinterpret and create, turn into real architecture in our 3D models. And the way we designed was always very AI-friendly in a way, because we always worked with very kind of, it's always been a sort of very kind of plastic way of designing and modeling in 3D. We were working back in the days with metabos, and now with the AI, we could reinterpret this metabos in something which is more automated, of course, but again, based on our way of doing architecture. And of course, from inspiration came also the idea of being able to introduce very quick models and reference images, and come up with ideas of interiors, inspiration for moods, and an environment that could, again, inspire us to be developed further. On master planning, this is one of the ways we use AI the most. Of course, it's a great way to engage with the public, engage with clients, create public consultations in a very fast way. We use a lot of segmentation maps, for instance, whereby we create a very simple model, and then in real time, having conversation with the client, we can paint them. So there's an assigned, of course, parameters to each color, and our own, actually, AI, which is a model that we trained ourselves based on stable diffusion, again, trained by our image library, would create visuals, and those visuals can be adjusted. They can be adjusted by verbal prompt, or they can be adjusted by just adjusting the weight, for instance, of the LoRa model. And it's not only about saying, okay, I want more glass, or I want, more stone, or different materials, but also, of course, testing environments as well, testing moods. What is going on? Okay. I'm not sure what this is. Anyway. So this diagram explains a little bit how we trained our own AI model. We have an open asset image library, which includes all our renders and all our photography of our building. This is being tagged by our librarian. Initially, it's tagged manually with a basic tagging. We then run a llama, so basically a large language model by Meta, which furthers this tagging, so it refines the tagging of all our images. I mean, we're talking about probably around 20,000 pictures, and these are uploaded to a data set, and they're used to train our stable diffusion model. And again, as you see below, then you can use that model to sort of, by virtue of verbal prompts, you can use that model to sort of come up with different designs that are based on our own language and our own 47 years of practice. And of course, this becomes very useful when it comes to interpreting a client brief, for instance. The tagging is very much done along the lines of what you would imagine a client, for instance, to ask for. For instance, this is one of our AI-driven sketch projects. You know, you can ask for, I don't know, cantilever terrace, 180 degrees vistas, and so on. And this would be then reproduced in images at this point. So these are images that sort of replicate brief prompts. An example of how we tag our images, you see there the tagging in the first line. Oh, sorry, hold on. Yeah, so tagging here, the images that are tagged with the little dot representing the tagging, and then the AI-generated image on here. Now we are experimenting with the platform that allows us to work in a much more smoother way in this sense, because we started using this platform called Xfigura that combines a number of different models all together. It can allow for upscaling, image generation, also 3D generation and video generation, pretty much on one platform. And as I said earlier, it's a wonderful way to engage with the public as well. So we did, for instance, this workshop done in Munich last year where you can have a conversation with stakeholders and understand their expectations, start visualizing them in real time, and kind of fine-tune, discuss nearly a design by committee to a degree. And we think that in urban planning, this is really the future of contemporary cities. It's a future in the sense that it's a tool that enables us to design cities that are much more complex, especially faced with the pressure of expanding cities in a very quick way. Like for instance, you can see here, because it's sort of probably 1980s, most likely China, I'm not sure exactly where, but there's a kind of, that's what happened in a country that boomed in a time of where architects didn't have the right tools. So what happens, of course, cookie cutting, repetition of the same building, and really no soul to the urban environment. Of course, we have different tools now. We have parametric modeling, but the AI, together with parametric modeling, can help us defining urban settings in a much more fine-tuned way. So we can get to a point where instead of, we can still create urban environments that are quickly deployable and buildable, but then bring in a level of complexity. This one, for instance, is our design assist for master planning. As you can see there, you can fine-tune, let's say, the density, so the weight of the model, the density of the urban environment, but we can also bring in our sort of like Zaha touch as much as we want, either in a very high way or in a very basic way. This is a project that we have started in 2019, so started before AI, but then, so before we started working with AI, let's say. But then as it developed, we managed to integrate AI tools to it. In particular, we integrated early AI tools that related to people's navigation. We had a very early stage design for this project, and we put together a gaming platform. We let our staff play with it to try to understand the footfall. So we would let our staff just navigate the environment without giving them any hint of whether this is an office, whether that's a housing block, or whether that's retail, to just understand intuitively where they wanted to go and where most of the paths were leading. And we also trained AI model on the basis of our staff playing with the model, and we find a way to kind of like intuitively navigate the space and find the areas with the largest footfall where we would plan more retail and so on. It's a 15-minute city in Chengdu. Entirely, it's completely walkable. There's a large platform here which is completely walkable, and underneath you can see 2 roads, large car park, and 2 metro stations. So people can live here. It's mostly for startups and young employees or young workforce that can live locally as well. And it's kind of like a beautiful pedestrian, very green environment. It's nearly finished. You can see here on this side, the construction actually is more advanced now and just on the render. And I would like, on the note of this project, to also introduce how we work with AI in order to fast-track certain repetitive tasks, in particular this level here, very briefly, evaluative AI, so analyzing projects mostly in terms of environmental performance and automating AI, which is how we actually work faster into incorporating AI in our traditional parametric modeling. So of course, this project you probably have seen is out there in large images, and that's a project we're doing here in CityZen in Tbilisi. It's inspired by the beautiful mountains around Tbilisi. It's a very kind of like tower that grows out of a cascading green environment. It's actually not too far from here. Inspired, as I said, by the mountains surrounding. I think you can quite see here how it kind of like, we wanted something that really grows out of beautiful green environment that is there. And also a variation of the, we wanted to make sure that wherever you approach the tower, it would look completely different. But I wanted to quickly explain how we, from the very beginning of the project, so this is a concept design level. We had three different options, all of them from the start. So this is really, we didn't even know exactly which option then our client would have preferred. We were already, though, developing them in using Grasshopper to make sure that the construction cost would match our design. So we wanted to make sure that whatever we were designing was deliverable within the client's budget and within the planning constraint. And that's where you see, you probably, I guess, nearly all of you recognize here a Grasshopper graph. So we started incorporating AI elements into the Grasshopper workflow to make things, to basically optimize precision, but also make sure that our staff doesn't spend hours setting these graphs up. And the idea is, of course, to make sure that we start at the beginning defining all the facade elements, so the facade systems, the slab edge, for instance, the type of glazing and so on, and these are then parameterized so that as we develop the project, whether it's develop the project early stages or value engineering later on, we can update the model and have a very good sense of areas, cost, amount of flat paneling, and so on from the very start. Just an example here, for instance, the base surface in yellow, and then how we develop the base surface into, rather than simplifying, making it even to a degree more complex, but more buildable. As we were saying, reduction of energy demand is also controlled via parametric modeling, and finally, for all our projects, we do a life cycle assessment where we can check the embodied carbon and carbon across the life of the project. And first of all, thank you very much. I think I'm early even. So thank you. I just wanted to say, maybe just to summarize that, yes, technology has always been at the core of what we do and the way we work. But in a way, we work with technology in such a way that it's a tool that allows us to imagine spaces that we were not even able to imagine without technology. So we don't let's say, technology run the design, but we use technology to really always further our creativity, I would say. Thank you.